Well, alright, everybody, we are back with our next episode of WWF Superstars here. So, let's take a look back at last week's episode of Superstars. We had the fabulous Rougeaus defeat the Bushwhackers to retain the WWFC Tag Team titles in our pre-show. Then we had Vince McMahon and Jesse Ventura run down our card. The opening contest was Hexa, Jim Duggan, and the Nasty Boys defeating the Honky Tonk Man in Power and Glory. Then we had Lex Luger talk about his win at Saturday night's main event. Then we had Kenta Kobayashi make his debut in the King of the Ring, defeating the Natural Butch Reed. So he has now moved on to the quarterfinals. Then we had the fabulous Rougeaus poking fun at the LOD. Then we had the Natural Disasters defeat the Twin Towers. We had Nick Bockwinkel say, hey, you know what? I came to the WWFC to make an impact, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Nick Bockwinkel then went on to defeat Dino Bravo. Then we had Larry Zbyszko make his debut and attack him. But then Larry talked about how, Bockwinkel, you left the AWA, but you thought you were going to get away from me. But, sir, that's not what happens. Paul Orndorff defeated Barry Horowitz. The Macho King talked about how he defeated Jake the Snake Roberts, and he's now out of here and gone. Then we had Ted DiBiase defeat Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Duggan says that he wants to get his hands back on the Honky Tonk Man for the WWFC television title. Sergeant Slaughter defeated King Kong Bundy in his opening contest in the King of the Ring. We had perfect talk about Luger getting lucky. In beating him at Saturday night's main event, but he won't the next time they face each other. And then in the main event, Jake Roberts defeated the Ultimate Warrior, Rick Rude, and Mr. Perfect to become the #1 contender for Randy Savage's World Heavyweight Championship here. So I am going to go through, I am going to book the show, and I will be right back. All right, everybody, we are back. We have our whole show booked. So let's hop into it with our pre-show match. In a decent pre-show match, the Natural Disasters defeated Akeem and King Kong Bundy in 9 minutes and 59 seconds when Earthquake pinned Akeem with the Earthquake Splash. The crowd heat is expected and simmering. The wrestling rating is a 64. The crowd rating is a 57. The segment got a 71. Typhoon had a 75. Earthquake had a 68. King Kong Bundy had a 53. Akeem had a 60. Earthquake and Typhoon showed excellent chemistry. The commentary quality lifted the match. Slick did good work at ringside, and Akeem and Slick have pretty good chemistry. So that's not too bad of a show to start everything off there. So let's head in to our first segment, which is just Jesse and Vince running down our card for tonight. Welcome, everybody, to another electric edition of WWFC Superstars. I'm Vince McMahon, alongside my broadcast partner, Jesse the Body Ventura, and what a night we have in store. The first round of the King of the Ring tournament wraps up tonight with 2 massive matchups. That's right, McMahon. First up, it's going to be a fight, plain and simple. The Boss Man takes on the most dangerous man in the tournament, Ken Shamrock. Boss Man's got size, but Shamrock's got intensity. This one could get ugly in a hurry. And then in another thrilling first round bout, it's a battle of 2 veterans as Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff collides with Superfly Jimmy Snuka, 2 men who have what it takes to win on the big stage, but only one will move on. Oh, but that's not all, McMahon. We're going to hear from the WWFC World Heavyweight Champion Macho King Randy Savage. He's got something to say after what went down last week with Jake Roberts. And speaking of Jake Roberts, he's got a huge test tonight in the main event. Oh my, what a main event indeed. It will be Jake the Snake Roberts going one-on-one with the former WWFC Intercontinental Champion, Mr. Perfect. Jake Roberts might have won that Fatal 4-Way last week, but Mr. Perfect is furious And you can bet he's looking for redemption here tonight. Roberts is going to have his hands full, McMahon. Perfect is one of the best to ever do it. And he's got a serious chip on his shoulder after that loss. But Jake's no pushover. This one could steal the show. It's a night of high stakes, intense rivalries, incredible action. Who will advance in the King of the Ring tournament? What will Randy Savage have to say? And can Jake the Snake continue his momentum? Or will Mr. Perfect put him or stop him in his tracks? We'll find out tonight on WWFC Superstars. So the crowd is hot and rising. We got a 90 for the segment. It advanced all our storylines. This storyline idea I used was a success. Vince McMahon was superb without a script and had the crowd eating out of the palm of his hands. The angle got the crowd hotter, and it got the show off to a strong start. So let's head off to our first match of the night. In a wild brawl that had good wrestling and decent reaction from the crowd, Hacksaw Jim Duggan defeated Ray Stevens in 8:17 by pinfall with the running clothesline tackle. The crowd heat at the end is hot. The wrestling rating got a 76. The crowd rating was a 63, so we ended off with a 77. Hacksaw Jim Duggan had an 88. Ray Stevens had a 63, and Ray Stevens debuted his old school heel gimmick, and it got a pour. It advanced the Honky Tonk and Jim Duggan storyline. So let's head off to our next segment. Oh yeah, Jake Roberts. You've been a thorn in my side, a snake slithering in the shadows since WrestleMania. You tried to take me down, you tried to steal my title, but every time I'm still standing. Dig it. You got close, yeah, too close. But that's why this time, there's no escape, no mind games, no tricks, just you and me, locked inside a steel cage. At King of the Ring on June 16th, it all comes to an end. You want to take this from me? You want to be the WWFC heavyweight champion? Then you better be ready for the fight of your life, because inside that cage, there's nowhere to run, no slithering away, no hiding. When the bell rings, I'm going to grab you by the neck, slam you into the steel, and make sure you never ever forget who the Macho King is. Jake Roberts, you're dangerous, yeah, but I'm even more dangerous at King of the Ring. I'm walking in as the WWFC heavyweight champion, and I'm walking out the same way. Ooh, yeah. So, the crowd heat is white hot. The segment got a 91. It advanced the Jake and Savage a Perfect storyline. The angle that I used was a success, and it got the crowd hotter. So, let's head to our next match. In a decent match, Ken Shamrock defeated Big Boss Man in 15:15 by 15:55 by submission. This match was a part of the King of the Ring. The crowd is very hot. The wrestling rating was a 69. The crowd rating was a 63. The segment got a 77. Shamrock had a 70. Boss Man had a 68. It advanced the King of the Ring storyline. The commentary quality lifted the match, and Slick did good work at ringside. So let's head to our next segment here. Oh, whoops, come on. Everybody's got a price for the $1 million man, and right now, my sights are locked on the WWFC Intercontinental Championship. Why? Because a championship like that deserves to be held by someone with class, someone with power, and most importantly, someone who can buy whatever they want. Lex Luger, enjoy that title while you can, because in this world, there's two types of champions: those who earn the gold and those who can afford it. In me, I can do both. Whether I out wrestle you, outsmart you, or outspend you, one way or another, that championship will soon belong to me. And if anybody in the WWFC thinks they can stop me, just remember, money talks. And when it does, everybody listens. So the crowd heat is very hot. The segment got an 84. It advanced the Lex Luger Ted DiBiase storyline, and Ted DiBiase clearly enjoyed having the freedom to go off script and performed well. So let's head to the next match. In a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, Ted DiBiase and Larry Zbyszko defeated Nick Bockwinkel and Lex Luger in 13:45 when Larry Zbyszko pinned Nick Bockwinkel. Nick Bockwinkel was the weak link, struggling to keep up with everybody else. The crowd heat is very hot. The wrestling rating was a 72, the crowd rating was a 70, and the segment got an 80. Larry Zbyszko had a 70. Ted DiBiase had a 78. Lex Luger had a 78. Nick Bockwinkel had a 60. That advanced the Lex Luger Ted DiBiase storyline and the Nick Bockwinkel and the Larry Z storyline, as Zbyszko seemed off his game. Jesse and Vince had pretty good chemistry when calling matches together. Ted DiBiase benefited from having a hot new move, and Larry Zbyszko is getting better at his gimmick. So let's head to our next segment. You know something, Ultimate Warrior? I have had it with you. For months, you've been a thorn in my side, running around like a wild man, screaming like a lunatic, thinking that just because you shake some ropes, it makes you unstoppable. But let me remind you of something, Warrior. I've beaten you before. I know exactly how to break you, and at King of the Ring, I'm going to do it again. But this time, it's final. I'm sick of the face paint. I'm sick of the stupid, mindless energy. And I'm especially sick of hearing you talk about your so-called warriors. Well, listen up, pal. At King of the Ring, there won't be any warriors to save you. No amount of screaming, no amount of running, and no amount of luck is going to keep me from doing what I do best. Outclassing you, out wrestling you, and leaving you laying in the middle of the ring. June 16th, Warrior, this rivalry comes to an end. And when the dust settles, when I've proven once again that ravishing Rick Rude is the superior man, you could finally do what you should have done a long time ago. Crawl back to whatever planet you came from and stay out of my way. Because after King of the Ring, Warrior, you and I, we're done. And you'll have no choice but to look in the mirror and admit what everybody else already knows, that I am simply ravishing. So the crowd heat is very hot. The segment got an 86, and it advanced the Rick Rude Ultimate Warrior storyline. So let's head to our next match. In a decent match, Kenta Kobayashi defeated Dino Bravo in 10:22 by pinfall with the Brainbuster. Kenta made defense number 9 of his All Japan Pro Wrestling Triple Crown title. The crowd heat is very hot. The wrestling rating is a 60. The crowd is a 48. The segment got a 76. Kenta had an in-ring of 75, and Dino had a 45. The commentary quality lifted the match. And Jimmy Hart did good work at ringside. So let's head to our next segment. I didn't think that would do very good. Big Boss Man, done. I told everybody that I came into this tournament to fight, to win, and to prove that no one in the WWFC is tougher than me. And what happened? I stepped into the ring, I took everything Boss Man threw at me, and then I made him tap out. You hear me? I made him quit. But I'm not here to celebrate. I'm here to keep moving forward. The King of the Ring waits for no one. And I don't care who steps it in my way next, because they're going to meet the same fate. I'll break them down, I'll lock them up, and when they're trapped in my world, they will tap. This is my tournament now, and at King of the Ring, I'm not just going to make a statement, I'm making history. So the crowd heat is very hot. The segment got a 71. The King of the Ring tournaments advanced. The commentary quality lifted it, and the color commentary gave it a boost. So let's head to our next match. In a decent match, the Road Warriors defeated Power and Glory in 11:01 when Road Warrior Hawk pinned Hercules with the Doomsday device. The crowd heat is very hot. The wrestling rating got a 68. The crowd rating got a 58. And the segment got a 79. Hercules sustained a Potts fracture. Hercules had a 55. Paul Roma had a 54. Road Warrior Hawk had an 81, and Animal had an 83. It advanced the Rougeos and the Road Warrior storyline. Hawk's creative finish was a success. Ooh, that is a lot of green for this match. Paul Roma and Hercules got a tag team specialist bonus. Hawk and Animal have excellent chemistry, and they got a tag team bonus. The commentary quality lifted the match. The color commentary gave it a boost. Road Warrior Animal and Paul Ellering have great chemistry. Road Warrior Animals looked good out there. And the performance of Road Warrior Hawk stood out as being good. So let's head to our next segment. Oh, yep, we already know. No, not bad, not bad. Rougeos, you two have been running your mouths for way too long. Every time you turn around, you're talking about how you're the greatest tag team in the WWFC. You say no one can stop you? Well, me and Hawk, we don't just stop teams, we end them. Oh, what a rush. But you know something? Animal, the Rougeos, they ain't just running their mouths, they're running for their lives. Every time we get close to them, they find some excuse, some way to weasel out of a fight. They're hiding behind their fancy little smiles and their phony handshakes, but we ain't buying it, boys. You can run your mouths, you can run from fights, but sooner or later, you're going to have to step up, and when you do, Rougeos, you're going to wish you never did. Because when they step in the ring with the Legion of Doom, there's no more talking, only pain. And pain is what we live for, Rougeos. You think you're untouchable, you think you're unstoppable. Well, we're coming for you, and when we do, we're going to break you in half and take those pretty little smiles right off your faces. And when it's all said and done, there's only one thing left to say. Oh, what a rush. So the crowd heat is very hot. We got a 74 out of that. The Rouge, it advanced the Rougeos Road Warrior storyline. Animal and Ellering have great chemistry, and the commentary quality lifted the segment. So let's head to our next match. In a decent match, Paul Orndorff defeated Jimmy Snuka in 9:41 by pinfall with the pile driver. This was the final first round match in the King of the Ring tournament. So the crowd heat is very hot. The wrestling rating is a 64. The crowd rating is a 62. And the segment got a 75. So Paul Orndorff had a in-ring performance of 66. Jimmy Snuka had a 62. It advanced the Slaughter Orndorff storyline and our King of the Ring storyline. The commentary quality lifted the match. The color commentary gave it a boost. So let's head to our next segment. Oh, that's not too bad. That's a little better than I thought. Let me tell you something, baby. Everybody's talking about how old Hacksaw wants another shot at the WWFC Television Championship. Are you kidding me? That big, goofy 2x4 swinging cross-eyed buffoon actually thinks he's got a chance. Let me tell you something, Jailhouse Jim Duggan. You ain't nothing but a big, dumb, no-talent goof. You walk around hollering, ho, like it's supposed to scare somebody, but all it does is give me a headache. And last time we were in the ring, what happened, Jimmy? Oh, I'll tell you what happened. You lost, that's what happened. You didn't get pinned, you didn't get submitted, but you lost. Let's face it. The Honky Tonk Man is just too smart. And too good looking, too. That's That's right, baby. I still got my hair perfectly in place, my guitar right here, and this WWFC Television Championship around my waist, Duggan. You can cry, you can whine, you can wave that stupid plank of wood all you want, but you ain't never taking this title from me. You don't belong in my league, boy. And best part, he thinks he deserves another shot. You gotta be kidding me, Duggan. You had your chance and you blew it. So why don't you just pack up, take your hoe somewhere else, and leave the championship business to real superstars like the Honky Tonk Man? Tell him, baby. Duggan, you're a joke, you're an embarrassment, and you'll never ever be the WWFC television champion. So take your boots, take your plank, and hit the road because the Honky Tonk Man is gonna keep on singing, keep on dancing, and keep on holding this title forever. So the crowd heat at the end is very hot, and the segment got a 71. It advanced the Honky Tonk and Jim Duggan storyline. So let's head to our next match. Not too bad. In a decent match, Honky Tonk Man defeated Brian Knobbs at 8:30 by pinfall with the shake, rattle, and roll. The Honky Tonk Man makes defense number 10 of the WWFC World Television title. The crowd heat is very hot. The wrestling rating is a 61. The crowd rating is a 54. The segment got a 70. The Honky Tonk Man had an in-ring performance of 65. Brian Knobbs had a 57. Had advanced the Honky Tonk Man Duggan storyline. The commentary quality lifted it. The color commentary gave it a boost, and Jimmy Hart did good work at ringside. So let's head to our next segment here. Ooh, only a 75. That's not good. You know, last week on Superstars, that's the so-called Snake Jake Roberts pulled up the biggest fluke I've ever seen in my life. He didn't beat me, he got lucky. There's a big difference, pal. Jake, you and I both know that in a real one-on-one contest without Warrior and Rude in the way, you wouldn't stand a chance against Mr. Perfect. You may have won that fatal four-way. But don't start thinking that makes you better than me, because let's face it, when it comes to pure talent, skill, and being absolutely the best in the ring, nobody measures up to Mr. Perfect. You see, luck runs out, Jake. And being perfect, that's forever. And the next time I step into the ring with you, I'll make sure you don't slither your way into another cheap win. Count on it. So the crowd heat is very hot. The segment got a 75. It advanced the storyline, and Mr. Perfect benefited from having a hot catchphrase. So let's head to our main event. In an exceptional match, Jake the Snake Roberts defeated Mr. Perfect in 18-13 by pinfall with the DDT. The crowd heat is very hot. The wrestling rating got a 91. The crowd heat got an 85, and the segment got an 88. Jake had a 92. Mr. Perfect had a 91. It advanced our storyline. Oh, and Jake and Mr. Perfect have great chemistry, and it showed in their performances. So that is fantastic. So let's head to our next segment, which also got an 88. So it was just Randy Savage running in and just beating down Jake the Snake Roberts. The crowd heat is very hot. It got an 88 as well and advanced our storyline. So let's finish off our show. It's got an 87. We advanced and increased our popularity in 5 regions. And we would have gained 2, but we were restricted in the States and 2 in Canada. So let's finish off the show here. Hercules. Oh, there is surgery, so that's fantastic. So, he will be out for 55 days, but I doubt it. We're going to do the surgery after the show. The financial report, we made $768,029. We go up to 73 in most regions in Canada, except the Maritimes and British Columbia. So that is everything for this episode. I will see you in the next one.